Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I want to continue that spirit of optimism and talk about the work we've been doing very quickly because we are a bit behind schedule. I want to talk about the work we've been doing with the leadership team at Vechain and why that makes us optimistic. You know, we at BCG, actually, let me go back to, so my slides aren't up. Here, but I'll talk anyways. So we at BCG reached out and connected with Sonny and Renato and Luca at the team at Vechain to talk about the opportunity of how business and technology can come together to change the world. And so we've been working, here's an example. We've been working with Vechain since the last year, for the last 6 months, to help make this a reality. And one of the reasons we got excited about Vechain was they already had recognized that they can solve real-world problems with a greater purpose, a purpose of helping society. And there's just a couple examples up here already of work that's been done already by Vechain, more to be done to help solve real-world problems, from traceability in the supply chain for recycling of plastic to the circular economy in textiles. So in textiles, only 1% of textiles are recycled, but that industry, as Vinay just mentioned, is responsible for more than 4% of greenhouse gas emission. How can we solve that? Well, one way is to create a circular economy. And then another example I really like is the ReSea opportunity, where the vision is for a plastic-free ocean. Who doesn't want that? We all do, right? But how do you motivate people to do that? Well, you have to create the incentives for collective action. And I think that's one area where blockchain and the technology that Vechain is really a leader in can drive that kind of action. And that's the genesis and some of the thesis behind the work we've done together. So we started this partnership last year, and we've been working quite diligently to understand where can we take the technology we have to solve real-world problems with the greater societal value. It's really all three of those. And so we've leveraged the deep expertise of the Vechain team and the broad experience that BCG brings by working with global companies around the world to understand what are those supply chain problems. And Vinay just mentioned the 8 largest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions. What are in the broadest sense of the word, for sustainability, where are the biggest problems? And where can we deploy the technology to solve those problems? That's been collectively the work that we've been doing. Part of that is you have to understand what is value. And so you'll see as you read the white paper, I encourage you to do that, not today, because we've got a lot going on today, but as you read the white paper, what you should take away from the white paper is we have a good understanding of what sustainability problems are and where they exist in the world, and how we can solve those. We talked through a couple examples. We talked about the circular economy in textiles. Another good example Professor Constantine mentioned was around supply chain efficiency in industrial goods, the whole concept of 3D printing. This is a really good example where the technology's evolved. 3D printing was invented in the 80s, but it's really maturing even today. But that's not enough. You have to understand, why do supply chains work the way they do? And we understand that. And we can deploy technology to solve things like the IP rights for printed parts. But in its essence, it's very simple. If a company has a need for a part in Europe that's made in the US, why are we shipping atoms? Why don't we ship bits and print the part where it's needed? It's much more efficient, better for the world economy, and better for everyone. But there's some impediments to that. And we need to understand what those impediments are and how technology can solve that. That's what we're talking about in the white paper. And we anticipate there's a lot of work to be done. Bringing all these players together to a common vision is not simple. And we're excited about the opportunity working with Vechain. This is the start of a journey, which is an exciting time for you all, because you get to be there at the beginning. of the journey. But what we want to create is a snowball effect. And the kind of snowball effect I'm talking about is like ChatGPT. Raise your hand if you know ChatGPT. Did you know that company went from 0 to 100 million users in 2 months? That's the kind of snowball effect we need, okay? Let's set our aspirations high and let's work hard to go for it. And I think this Peter Drucker's statement here really epitomizes what we're talking about. You know, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And that's what we're doing with Vechain. And so you'll hear more in a minute from Renato and Luca about what's in the white paper. But that's really the gestalt underneath it. And I appreciate your time. Thank you all.